Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. Well, welcome to week 12 of the Premier League predictions, and as usual this week we've got our usual guests, Martin giving his predictions, Kiam over in Canada giving his predictions, and also Ryan, who looks after the Discord Premier League prediction table. So what we're going to do is going to look at the games first and just very quickly run through. Starting off tomorrow night, remember we've got a Friday evening game, and kickoff is at 8 o'clock, and that's Norwich versus Watford. And then moving through to Saturday, a 12:30 kickoff. The early kickoff on Saturday is Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. And then we've got a run of 3 o'clock kickoffs. We've got Burnley versus West Ham United. We've got Newcastle versus Bournemouth, Southampton versus Everton, and Spurs versus Sheffield United. And then the late kickoff on Saturday is a 17:30 kickoff, and that is Leicester City versus Arsenal. Moving through to Sunday, we've got a 2 o'clock kickoff, which is Manchester United versus Brighton. Then we've got another 2 o'clock kickoff, which is Wolves at home to Villa. And then the big one, 16:30 Sunday afternoon, Liverpool at home to Manchester City. So let's go through, and the first person to give their score predictions today is Kiam.
Hi Andy, thanks for having me on again, mate. My score predictions for this week then. So I'm going to go for Norwich 1, Watford 2. Now I think Watford may show a little bit of fight this weekend. I think they're going to have a bit too much. They'll have a little bit too much Premier League experience for Norwich. Norwich bubble burst some weeks ago, so I think Watford will get a victory, even though the game is at Carrow Road. I've gone for Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace 0. I think Chelsea are pretty solid at the moment. I know they had a bit of a sort of a ding-dong game against Ajax in the Champions League in midweek, but Frank Lampard has them set up really well, and I think they'll beat Crystal Palace comfortably. I've gone for Burnley 1, West Ham United 1. I think that'll be a very tight game. Burnley will probably take the lead, and I think West Ham will equalise later in the game. Newcastle United 1, Bournemouth 0. So I think that's going to be a really tight game, but I think Newcastle may just nick it late on. They've got some good attacking players, some good options there. So I think Newcastle might just nick one and take all 3 points up at St James's Park. I've then gone Southampton 1, Everton 2. So Everton, they managed to sort of fight back against Spurs late on last week. There was that horrific injury, of course, to Gomez. Hope the guy recovers. That was a really bad injury for Gomez. But I think Everton will get the victory away at Southampton. Southampton obviously still reeling from that 9-0 defeat against Leicester a couple of weeks ago now, but I think Everton will take the points. I've then gone for Tottenham Hotspur 3, Sheffield United 0. I think Tottenham are going to get back on form now. They've had an impressive midweek again in the Champions League. I think they did show that they were pretty decent against Everton. They were unlucky not to win the game, in my opinion, and I think they'll have way too much for Sheffield United. I've gone for Leicester City 2, Arsenal 1. So tune into AFTV because I'm sure they're going to be in meltdown when they travel to Leicester. Leicester in great form at the moment. That lad at the back, I think his name is Seonku. He looks a real player. I think they've got rid of Harry Maguire to United and actually replaced him with a better centre-back, which is just unbelievable, really. I mean, their scouting system must be superb, and I think they're going to beat Arsenal by 2-1. Manchester United 2, Brighton Hove Albion 0. So I think United, after all of the ups and downs of the last few weeks, I think it will settle down. They're going to have the home crowd behind them, and I think they'll get a 2-0 win, probably with the aid of a nice dodgy penalty or something just to help them on the way. But they'll beat Brighton quite comfortably at home. And then we've got Wolverhampton Wanderers against Aston Villa. So, bit of a derby there. And I think Wolves are just going to have a bit too much. They've obviously been in the league a season longer than Aston Villa. They spent quite a bit of money as well. They've got quite an established squad. So I think Wolves at home will be a little too strong for Aston Villa, and they'll just nick it by 2-1. And then it moves on to the biggest game of the weekend, Liverpool versus Manchester City. And now I would love to be going for a City win, but I'm not. So I'm going to give you my result, and it's not a result I want, and I hope I'm very, very wrong. But I've gone for Liverpool 3, Manchester City 1. Now I think City, with all of the injuries that we have, I think recently our defence, it's not been the worst, but I do think it's been shaky at times, and that has been against much lesser opposition than Liverpool. So when we go to Anfield, the crowd are going to be up for it. The VAR is going to be up for it. Obviously, they're going to have a field day giving decisions against us. The referees will be out to give them everything they possibly can. I think that it's just a perfect combination with players missing, and Fernandinho will probably be covering in defence as well, rather than his usual holding midfield role. So I think we're going to see Gundogan in the holding midfield position, which isn't ideal against the midfield that Liverpool have. So I think we're going to struggle. I've got to be honest, I think we will lose the game by 3-1. Is the Premier League over if we lose? I don't think it is. I think Liverpool can still bottle it. We've seen they've been very lucky in quite a number of games this year, so I think they will drop points. So I think we'll lose, sadly, 3-1. Those are my predictions, Andy, and I hope everybody enjoys the weekend's football, and best of luck with your predictions.
Okay, thanks for those, Kiam, and the next up is Martin.
Hi guys, Martin here at Man City Fan TV. Just want to drop in, give you my predictions for this weekend. So I have actually gone for I'm going to start with the Norwich game at home to Watford. Surprisingly, even though I've said Norwich have fallen off a cliff lately, I have gone for a 2-1 home win here. I fancy Norwich to just nip in and get a much needed win, especially at home. I think the Carroll Road crowd will be right behind them, desperate for a win. Watford have improved slightly, but I just think Norwich will just nick this one 2-1. The next one I've gone for is a Chelsea home win to Crystal Palace, a local derby. This one's going to be quite a close game as well. Crystal Palace have a thing of going away to the big boys and getting results. So, yeah, I think this will be another close one, but I don't think Palace will net the result this time. I think Chelsea will just come out. The Chelsea youngsters will come out 2-1 winners. And then we're going to move on to the Bournemouth game. Burnley-West Ham game. Sorry, I'm getting me games mixed up. Burnley-West Ham down at Lancashire at Turf Moor. I've gone for a Burnley home defeat here. Burnley 1, West Ham United 2. Exact same reasons as Norwich. I think West Ham are desperate. And Pellegrini desperate for a result here. Desperate. I think they'll be disappointed after the home defeat against Newcastle. And they're going to have to bounce back, show some bite here, and I think they will do. People say Southern Softies, but I think they'll prove they've got a little bit of steel here. West Ham to come out just 2-1 winners over at Turf Moor. Then we're up to the Toon. Newcastle at home to Ryan Corrie's Bournemouth team. I've gone for a 1-1 draw here. I think Bournemouth play some nice football under Eddie Howe, but I just think Newcastle have hit a rich vein of form lately. But I just think I can just see this being a bit of a stalemate. I'm gonna splinters in my bum today, and I'm gonna have 1-1 on that. I'm gonna sit on the fence. Next one I've gone for is a Southampton Everton game, and Carl's not gonna forgive me for this one, but I'm afraid, Carl, the misery's going to pile on for you even more, pal. I'm going for the Saints 3-1 home win. Southampton surprised me a little bit, surprised a lot of us last week at home to us, away to us, sorry. And I think they're just, 3 goals is a lot, Southampton, considering they're not scoring goals at all, scoring a goal a game at the moment. But I just fancy 3-1. I think they're still got to bounce back from that thrashing by Leicester, and I think they'll do that with a convincing 3-1 home win against Everton. I think Everton are just they're in a mess, and I think this will be Marco Silva's last game. That'll probably make Cal very happy. But on to the Tottenham Sheffield United game over at the new White Hart Lane, and I've gone for a convincing 3-1 win here. Tottenham 3. Sheffield United 1. I just think Spurs far too much for Sheffield United. Yeah, the Blades are going to show, Chris Wilder's side are going to show some steel, bit of determination, and there'll probably be one each, probably going into about 60th, 65th minute. But I just think Tottenham will have a little bit too much up top for them with Harry Kane and Son. I think they'll have far too much, and I've just gone for a 3-1 win. But I think it'll be a close game till about the hour 65-minute mark, and then I think Sheffield United will tire. Then we're going to go on to the Leicester City Arsenal game, one of the top 2 games this weekend between the top 6. Leicester, I've gone for a 2-2 draw. Very entertaining game. I think this will be the game of the weekend, believe it or not, for entertainment wise. I think Leicester, great form at the moment. Brendan Rodgers pulling out the miracles, same as he did at Liverpool. Obviously did slip up at the last minute, but he hasn't got the squad he had at Liverpool, and he's performing miracles over at Leicester. Are Leicester a surprise package? Are they in a title hunt? We're going to wait and see, but I just think it'll be 2-2. Arsenal, Aubameyang carry on his good vein of form scoring, but they're crap at the back, so yeah, 2-2. Moving on to the old enemy, United to Brighton and Hove Albion. Yeah, I'm a Graham Potter fan, big Brighton fan, love the way they play football. But I think United are going to be comfortable 3-0 winners here. Comfortable 3-0 winners. So I just think Ollie at the wheel, I think United are going to be a bit of a yo-yo team over the next few weeks. Get a result, bad result, good result, bad result. And I just think this is going to be their week for a good result, 3-0. On to the Wolves Aston Villa game. Again, local derby, big derbies this weekend. Wolves Aston Villa 2-2 I'm going for. Entertaining 2-2. Wolves suddenly started to become the draw specialist a little bit. Seem to be nicking goals. Villa, very good team, very unlucky against Liverpool last week, and I just fancy it'll be a cracking game. Probably see Wolves go ahead, Villa equalise. Probably Villa will go 2-1 in front, and Wolves do what they're doing really well lately, pull it back 2-2. Then on to the big one, Liverpool, the top 2 against us Blues. And I'm going to be honest, I hate to say this, and we're going with my head rather than my heart, and I'm going to the game myself, but I'm going to go with my head rather than my heart. My heart says one thing, but with the amount of injuries we've got, we can't buy a point at Anfield, never mind a win. And this is going to make me sound really bad, and I'm going to get a lot of stick for this, but I'm going to go for a 3-1 Liverpool home win, and I think the title race ends this weekend. I'm being negative. No, not because I just think too many injuries, too many things conspiring against us at the minute, and I just, not conspiracy theories, but just too many things against us overall at the moment, and I just think 3-1. Unfortunately, I think Liverpool will open us up at the back, quite easily. They're going to open us up like a tin of beans. I'm telling you, I just don't think our defence are going to cope with Salah, Mane. I just don't think they will. Firmino, no chance. Yes, we can cause them problems. David Silva doesn't look like he's going to be fit. Rodri, 50-50 chance. I just don't see it, Blues, I'm afraid. So, unfortunately, as much as this is going to hurt, I think, we're going to get beat 3-1. So, I'm sorry to end on a sour note, guys. Martin here at Man City Fan TV. Thanks so much for your support. Take care. Up the Blues.
Thanks, Martin. And now the final guest today is Ryan, who looks after the Discord channel. So, Prediction League, certainly on the Discord channel. So, let's hear what Ryan has to say about the predictions for Week 12 of the Premier League.
Hello guys, this is Ryan with my predictions for Game Week 12. Sorry about the background noise, there's not much I can really do about that at the moment. So, I have gone for Norwich 0, Watford 1, Chelsea 4, Crystal Palace 1, Burnley 1, West Ham 2, Norwich, Newcastle 0, Bournemouth 2, Southampton 1, Everton 0, Tottenham 0, Sheffield United 1, Leicester 2, Arsenal 0, Man United 1, Brighton 2, Wolves 1, Aston Villa 1, and Liverpool 4, Manchester City 1. So obviously I'll start with the big one, which is obviously Liverpool versus City. I think this game could go one of three ways. We'll nick it like 1-0 in a game that's very 50-50. It'll be a 0-0 draw, or we will get absolutely battered, and I think that's more likely, because I can't. The only way I see us being good defensively is we could try and emulate how United played against them, and I can't see Pep doing that. So I think we're going to lose quite convincingly. Watford winning against Norwich. Pookie's fallen off the boil, gone cold. Watford could probably just about edge this 1-0, but that's going to be a terrible game. Chelsea scoring loads of goals, but still very poor defensively. 4-4 draw in the Champions League this week. So I'm going to have them concede, but I think they'll hammer home there. Burnley West Ham, very 50-50 game. I've given it to West Ham based on the fact that they've had a lot of poor results, and I feel like they'll turn it around because they're so 50-50. Newcastle Bournemouth, I've got Bournemouth 2-0. I just prefer Bournemouth really. They had their good win over United, and hopefully that should give them some confidence. Southampton have given the win over Everton because Everton are away from home, but I think it'll be a very tight game. Then you have Tottenham Sheffield United. Tottenham are in a mess, and Sheffield United very solid defensively. Can easily nick a 1-0 win, if not more. Arsenal losing to Leicester. Leicester above them in the league. Arsenal. Obviously, Xhaka has just been stripped of his captaincy. So I'm going Leicester should comfortably win that, I'd say. Man United Brighton. Brighton are in good form at the moment. Connolly's doing really well for them. United. They're a mess at the moment, like a lot of teams. So I think I'll give that to Brighton. And then Wolves Aston Villa. Can't really split them, so I've gone for the 1-1 draw. Make sure you get your predictions in the Discord. And back to Andy.
Okay, thanks for that, Ryan. Now over to mine to round this off today. So we're starting off with Norwich versus Watford. Well, we take the two bottom teams in the Premier League, Norwich in 19th and Watford propping up the table at the moment. It's just been, the last 5 games are awful for both. If we take Watford first, the last 5, a loss, a draw, and a loss on 5 points. Norwich, not much better. A loss, a draw, a loss, and they're 2 points ahead in 19th position. So it's one of those that could turn out to be an absolutely brilliant game. I'm going for a very tight Norwich City 1, Watford 1. Next up, we've got Crystal Palace away to Chelsea. Well, Chelsea currently reside in the top 4. They're on 23 points, the same points as Leicester, having a wonderful season so far. And if you take their last 5 games, they are the most informed team in the Premier League. 5 wins on the bounce, so doing very, very well. If you look at Crystal Palace, they're in 9th, so a decent season so far for them. They're on 15 points. If you take their last 5 games, a win, a loss, a draw, and a loss last week. But I still think it's going to be just a little bit too much for Palace to go to Stamford Bridge. So I'm going to go Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace 1. On to Burnley versus West Ham. Burnley, they currently reside in 14th position on 12 points. and this game comes on the back of 3 losses: a draw, a win, a loss, and a loss. West Ham not much better. They're in 13th, 1 point ahead on 13 points. Real sort of mixed bag of form: a draw, a loss, a draw, a loss. Manuel Pellegrini's team just can't buy a win at the moment, and they'll be desperate for it. So I'm going to think it's going to be a tight game against 2 teams that are not really in great form. So I'm going to go for Burnley 1, West Ham United 1. Newcastle versus Bournemouth is next. And if we look at Newcastle, they're down in 15th. They've just sort of fought the way out. A good 3 points last week. They've fought the way out of that bottom 3. They're on 12 points. The last 5 games are a loss, a win, a loss, a draw, and that win again. If we go over and take a look at Bournemouth, well, Bournemouth are flying high in 7th on 16 points, and that was another good 3 points for Bournemouth last week. Their last 5 games are a draw, a loss, a draw, and a win. But I think, considering this is away from home, I think Newcastle will scrape another point here, and I'm going to go for yet another 1-1 draw. Southampton versus Everton is next. Oh, God, Southampton, well, they're in the bottom 3 and on 8 points, just almost 5 losses apart from a draw in the middle. So it's a loss, a draw, a loss, and a loss, and are not in good form whatsoever. However, Everton just above them, outside that drop zone in 17th place on 11 points. Good point last week. A loss, a win, a loss, and then a draw last week. So they needed that. I'm still going to go, though, considering Everton are travelling all the way down to Southampton. I'm going to go for yet another 1-1 draw. Next up is Spurs versus Sheffield United. Well, if you take Tottenham, they would have been expected to be somewhere around that top 4, but they're not. They're in 11th place on 13 points, and they're last. It's real mixed bag for Spurs at the moment. The last 5 games, a win, a loss, a draw, a loss, and a draw. So yeah, 11th place. It's not ideal for them. However, if we go across and take Sheffield United, absolutely flying in 6th place. They were in my bottom 3 to go down this season, but absolutely been superb. And they're on 16 points. If you look at that and think, God, the lights down there, the lights of Spurs are on 13 points, United are on 13 points, and they're Sheffield United flying high in 6 on 16 points. Their last 5 games, a loss, a draw, a win, a draw, and another good win last week. But again, I think Spurs will be strong at home, and but I still think Sheffield United could go there and score. So again, another 1-1 draw. Moving on to Leicester versus Arsenal. As we know, Leicester really banging form at the moment. Currently lying 3rd on 23 points, 2 points behind Manchester City. The last 5 games have been a win, a loss, a win, and a win. So they're banging form, and they're scoring goals as well. 27 for, only 8 against, giving them a 19 plus 19 goal difference. So they are the 3rd best in the league, behind Liverpool and City at the top of the goal difference league. But so Leicester, you've got to think at home are going to be very strong. Arsenal, on the other hand, well, they are currently just a couple of places below Leicester in 5th, but they're 6 points behind on 17 points. Too many draws, that's Arsenal's problem. Their last 5 games have been a draw, a win, a loss, a draw, and a draw. But because of those 2 draws, I'm going to make it this week. They're going to get a 3rd draw. So again, another 1-1 draw for me. Moving on to Manchester United versus Brighton. Man United, as said earlier, in 10th place on 13 points in a real mixed bag again. A draw, a loss, a draw, a win, a loss. Very inconsistent. Brighton, on the other hand, are above Manchester United in the table in 8th position on 15 points, so 2 points ahead of United. They've done really well in the last couple of games with 2 wins. So their last 5 is a loss, a win, a loss, and then those 2 back-to-back wins. But I think it's going to come to an end. I don't think it's going to be 3. I'm going to go for Manchester United 2, Brighton 1. Wolves, Villa. Oh, this should be interesting. This should be fiery, and this should be a really interesting game. And so, let's take a look at Wolves versus Villa. Well, Wolves are currently mid-table in 12th on 13 points, but again, too many draws. A win, a draw, and a draw on there. Where Aston Villa really sort of started pretty well, but 2 losses on the bounce. They lie in 16th position, 16th place on 11 points, a draw, a win, and then 2 back-to-back defeats. So I think this could be a fiery game. I think it'll be a tight one, and you've guessed it, I'm going to go for Wolves 1, Aston Villa 1. Which leads us to our game on Sunday, which sort of rounds up the last game of Week 12 in the Premier League, and that is obviously at Anfield. It's Liverpool versus Manchester City. Well, as we know, Liverpool top the table on 31 points. A win, a draw, a win, and a win, with City close behind in second on 25 points. We've got a win, a loss, and then 3 on the bounce. But this is going to be an almighty game on Sunday. And obviously we'll have to wait and see what the injury situation is going to be like. And will Ederson play? Will he be fit? Will Rodri be back? Will Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and Gabby Jesus and find some form? It's going to be a tight one. It's always difficult. We struggle at Anfield. Will Raheem Sterling finally turn up on Merseyside for an opposition team? Let's hope Sunday is that day. But I've got a feeling, when teams are out of form and they go somewhere like this and people say, oh, you're going to get absolutely destroyed, I've got a feeling City will turn up. But I don't know whether we'll turn up enough to stop Liverpool scoring. So I'm going to go for a very, very close Liverpool 1, Manchester City 1. I don't think there'll be as many goals as people might think in this game. It's always a very tight one. Remember 0-0 last year. Should have been a winner by Mahrez from the penalty spot. But if we do get a penalty, who takes it? But anyway, those are our predictions for Week 12 of the Premier League. So guys, if you want to give us yours below this video, or if you're not already a member of the Discord channel, that's MCFC Fan TV, go over to Discord, check it out, have a look, and go and see what it's all about. And you can get your predictions in, certainly for this particular week. So finally, what we're going to do is I'm going to take a look at what happened after last week in the Discord channel, Premier League. So here we go, and this is obviously Ryan updating it from last weekend. So first, currently still at the top is Kiam on 50 points, but Baron's house is closing very quickly, and he is now in second on 48 points. Me, that is Ryan Corrie, he is on 47 points. Martin jumps up again, he's on 43 points. In fifth, we've got Callum on 36, Bernard on 36, Sargent on 35, Section 20 is on 33, Ethan Aspinall is on 33, me, sort of mid-table, 31. I'm happy with that. I'm normally down the bottom with predictions. But I'm sort of in midway. Dank City's on 25. Gory Met's on 25. Mingy Wong is on 20. Alex is on 16. Darren on 9. Ashkith on 6. Daniel De Bruyne on 6. And True Blue 1972 is propping up the table again on 4 points. So don't forget your predictions. Get them into Ryan on the predictions league section of the Discord channel. So anyway, it's tight at the top there, very, very close. That could swap around this weekend, but my money's on Kiam from Man City Fan TV. But anyway, guys, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Those are the predictions. Take care, and we'll see you soon.